Not everyone should be buying a house. Now, I didn't say everyone shouldn't be a homeowner, but in this economy, some people should just put the brakes on purchasing a home. I just had a conversation with a friend, and that's how this video idea came up. They want to purchase a home with creative financing, but when we looked at all the variables and all the hidden charges, it just felt that it would put this person in too deep of debt going into the future. So on this video, I'm going to cover reasons why you shouldn't purchase a home. Let's get after it right now. And welcome to the Living in Utah channel. I'm Mike Gallagher. I'm a local real estate agent. And if you want to learn everything about the state of Utah, you've come to the right channel. If this is your first time on my channel and you want to learn a little bit more, you may consider tapping that subscribe button down below, hitting that bell notification. YouTube will send you an alert every time I release a new video. And apart from making videos, I also help people buy or sell real estate. So if I could be of any assistance, I'll put my contact information on the screen. It'll also be down in the show notes. Let me take you back. I can remember back in 2006, 2007 time period, some people were purchasing homes with interest-only loans. That's right. So they were paying only the interest on the loan. No amount of their payment was going towards the principal. Many people jumped on these loans. They were very popular, and it got even crazier than that. Some people took out interest-only loans for a short time period, and then after that time period, it jumped up to a higher amount, which covered interest and principal. And then we jumped into 08, 09, 2010. Many people lost their homes. This leads to reason number one. If you're offered an interest-only loan, be very careful of the terms and conditions. Maybe even have an attorney look over the documents to make sure that you will not be in default. If this is the only way that you can obtain a loan, I would strongly be very, very careful. Now, if you're in a financial position at where you can easily make these interest-only loan payments and it's very manageable, yes, you may consider this particular product. But if you can barely make the payment, make sure you know this particular loan product inside and out. Reason number two on my list, foreclosed properties or properties that are to be sold as is. Make sure you know everything, and I mean everything that is wrong with the home. Every nook and cranny, every bolt or nut. I've done many flip homes, and you'll walk into them, and it's maybe a $30,000 repair. It ends up being $40,000, $45,000. There's always unexpected items that you didn't notice, like maybe a roof leak that you didn't notice, or there's mold underneath the tile in the bathroom or in the kitchen. When they remove that old tile, there's some mold, and you have to do some mold remediation. It all costs money, adds up very quick. And if you're using contractors, make sure you get a great solid estimate. Don't guess at it. Don't guess that a roof repair will be $2,000 when it could be $10,000 to $15,000. Even on a roof, once they remove those shingles, if the plywood underneath is rotted, it could easily double the roof repair cost. Also, let's say it needs a roof and you decide, I won't repair it, I'll leave it till later. Well, your insurance company will usually do a walk around on the property and write up things that need repaired, like the roof, for instance. And in some cases, you may have to repair that roof to obtain the insurance coverage. Do they get picky? Yes, they do. Let me tell you about my own experience this year with one of my rentals. I had some trees that were taller, that if the wind snapped the trees, they would potentially fall onto the home. They made me chop those trees. Reason number three, if you've got a low credit score. Now, there are programs out there that will get you financed with a low score, but they usually require huge down payments or higher interest rates. And in some cases, both. Big down payment, high interest rate. Interest rates right now are high enough. Don't go even higher. My recommendation would be to get your credit score as high as possible. Now, there's many places out there. There are some informational websites, videos to help raise your credit scores. Even just talking to a loan officer, they can give you some tips that'll help raise your score free of charge. Just be careful which loan officer you talk to. Some may talk you into a high interest rate loan. Try to stay away from those. And by the way, raising your credit score, it's like going to the gym. You will not see instant results on day one. It takes time, patience. While you're working on your credit score, you can also save some money for that down payment. Reason number 4, if you don't have any spare money, if you have no money in your bank account, it's hard to get into a home. A lot of times you need down payment money. You also need money for items like electricity, gas, internet. Most of these companies have setup charges to get you started. You also need money to move, whether you're renting a truck or using professional movers. It also costs money for items in the house. Sometimes you might need window coverings. Sometimes you might need appliances, but you also will need some extra money for insurance and property taxes. Usually they want a couple months worth of payments during the closing process. Coming in, reason number 5, I call this one FOMO, the fear of missing out. Inventory is low and you feel the pressure that you have to buy a house. There'll be no houses left. All your friends are buying homes. Your parents have homes. People you work with all own homes. Not only that, rents are very expensive. Then there's the argument of renting versus buying. And I agree, rent prices seem to just go up and up and up. But there's the things that people don't talk about when owning a home, especially if you're used to renting all the time. Mowing the yard, that'll be your responsibility. Snow removal will be your responsibility, or you may have to hire someone to do it. And the big one, repairs around the house. When the plumbing goes out, the faucet, the blocked sink, you have to pay the bill. Electrical items, you have to pay the bill. Even landscaping. Have you priced what fertilizer costs lately? Items like mulch and plants, it all adds up very fast. Let's talk about paint just on the side of my house. I have a couple doors that I have to paint about every 2 years. They get hammered with the weather, the cold, the hot. The paint is always cracking. So maintaining a house is not cheap. So make sure you have plenty of money for these expenses. Let's back up a moment to the low inventory issue because I get asked this question all the time. I think there are 3 big reasons why we have some low inventory. Number 1 would be the interest rates. You would think with the higher interest rates, we might have more inventory. Well, there are many individuals out there with 3% loans or 4% loans. They're not willing to give up that loan to go to a 7.5%, 8% mortgage. I am seeing many individuals with the lower interest rates renting out their home, taking that extra cash flow money, putting it towards their new purchase. Number 2, there is a lack of construction. Not so much right now, but when we had the crash back in 08, 09, many builders went out of business. We have to build X amount of homes per year around the country just to keep up with population growth. It wasn't happening back then. Even in, say, 2012, 13, 14, 15, when more construction was coming online, we were still lagging behind the numbers that we were producing in the early 2000s. So there has been a backlog of hundreds of thousands of homes that need to be built. Number 3 would be Utah's growth, and this would just be for the state of Utah. We are a growing state, and I think that will continue. There's a possibility that we may get the Winter Olympics 2030 or 2034. It has not been announced yet. Sometime next year it will be announced. I noticed a big population growth here in Utah after the 2002 Olympics. So I would imagine that if we do get the Olympics again, we will see even more growth, or at least this growth that we're having now continue at the same pace. Reason number 6, now I was only going to do 5, but this one just came to my mind, and I think it's very important also. If you plan on being in the state just a short time period, say 2 to 3 years, maybe you are moving here for a job, but in a few years there might be an opening in, say, Texas that you would like, and you may move to that location. Have a second thought on purchasing a home maybe. I work with a lot of military members that fall into this category. They're here for 2 to 3 years, depending if they're single or married. Will determine their length of stay in the state of Utah. Now they can extend if they want to. But if you plan on buying, I still think it's okay to buy. But if the market conditions change in 2 to 3 years and you would like to sell, you may have to sell at a loss or rent the home. I think renting is a great idea. I've worked with many individuals in the military. 5 to 10 years later, they call me and go, hey, we're moving back to the state, or put that home on the market, I'm going to sell it. But during that time period, someone else has been paying their mortgage. Isn't that a great opportunity? If you could buy a home, somebody else pays the mortgage, and later down the line you sell the home and walk away with the money. So in conclusion, that's my list. If you would like to add to the list, I'd love to know in the comments down below. Or if you have been in any one of these situations, also please let me know your story in the comments. If you have any kind of questions, by all means, reach out to me. Glad to answer anything that I can. And until the next video, take care and stay safe.